Decades have passed since the 1987 Predator encounter with Dutch Schaefer and his team in the Guatemalan jungle. Though the Predator's self-destruct device wiped out almost all traces of its technology, new intelligence hints that not everything was lost. Buried deep within the jungle could lie a key to unlocking extraterrestrial secrets. Weyland Corporation, in collaboration with the CIA, is particularly interested in recovering a shuttle tube that may still rest beneath the ruins. This tube could contain the data necessary to remotely access a Predator spacecraft, which remains stationed on the far side of the moon. To secure this technology, they enlist retired Navy SEAL Commander Bear Taos and his elite team of operatives. But they're not the only ones seeking this alien advantage. Russia, China, and other foreign operatives are racing to control it, knowing that whoever possesses this technology will shift the global balance of power. Dr. Emily Ross stood at the head of the Weyland-Yutani briefing room, her sharp gaze scanning the room. The faint light cast long shadows across the walls, heightening the tension. Commander Taos and his three operatives sat in silence, their eyes fixed on the glowing screen behind her. Commander Taos, welcome. What we're about to discuss is classified beyond your usual clearance, Dr. Ross began, her voice steady. It started in 1987 with Dutch Schaefer's team. Taos leaned forward, impatience flickering in his dark eyes. Spare me the official story. We all know about the so-called rescue mission for a cabinet minister. What's the truth? Dr. Ross paused, exchanging a brief glance with her assistant. The truth, Commander, is that it was more than a rescue. It was the first recorded encounter with extraterrestrial hunters, predators far more advanced than anything we've ever faced. The commander gave a slight nod but remained silent, his expression unreadable. You're probably wondering why we're bringing this up now, Dr. Ross continued, pacing slightly. The truth is, the stakes have never been higher. On June 24, 1947, Kenneth Arnold reported seeing unidentified flying objects near Mount Rainier, an event that sparked decades of speculation and conspiracy theories about extraterrestrial life. Then came the Roswell incident, where a mysterious object reportedly crashed, leading to rampant rumors of government cover-ups and alien technology. Fast forward to today. After years of silence and denial, we've uncovered undeniable evidence of an extraterrestrial presence. In 1987, we experienced the first documented encounter with these hunters. Following that encounter, the CIA conducted extensive investigations into reports of these hunters in the Guatemalan jungle, where they were rumored to be hunting human trophies. It's likely these extraterrestrials have been visiting Earth for many years, viewing the hunt as a rite of passage for their warriors. Collecting trophies is not just a demonstration of skill, it's a key part of their culture and honor. This adds a chilling layer to our current mission. Not only are we racing against time to retrieve the shuttle tube, but we must also be wary of the hunters' motivations and their relentless pursuit of glory. Dr. Ross's words hung in the air as she activated a holographic display of the hunters' spacecraft, orbiting the far side of the moon. This isn't just about history, it's about what we've learned since. We have intel suggesting that the technology they left behind holds the key to understanding their capabilities and intentions. With the shuttle tube hidden in the Guatemalan jungle, we have a chance to retrieve that knowledge and possibly access the hunters' spacecraft still orbiting the opposite side of the moon. This is our opportunity to turn the tables. If we act now, we might control the technology that has haunted us for decades. The commander's expression hardened, his impatience flickering to the surface. Why not just go straight to the spacecraft on the moon? Seems easier, right? Dr. Ross met his sharp gaze. It's not that simple. The Hunter's spacecraft is highly advanced, far beyond anything we've ever encountered. Its systems are likely encrypted and protected by layers of defense mechanisms we don't fully understand. Even if we reached it, without the proper access codes or understanding of their technology, we'd be walking into a death trap. She let the gravity of her words sink in before continuing. The shuttle tube in the jungle is the key. It contains crucial data we need to remotely access the ship's systems. We believe it has remnants of the Hunter's wrist gauntlet from the 1987 encounter, the same gauntlet that controlled their cloaking device, weaponry, and even their self-destruct mechanism. Commander Taos frowned, his jaw tightening. So, without the shuttle tube, we'd be flying blind. Exactly, Ross confirmed. Approaching the spacecraft without the tube's data would trigger its defense systems. The hunters could have left behind traps, automated sentinels, or worse. We need that data to understand how the ship works, to shut down its defenses, and, if we're lucky, to take control of it. The commander leaned back, his eyes calculating. "And you're sure the tube is still intact after all these years?" "As sure as we can be," Ross replied. "The tube might contain not just the access we need, but also insights into their technology. Encryption keys, remote controls, things we can't even imagine. But there's more. Foreign operatives, Russia, China, Cuba, they're all after the same thing. They know the tube is the key, and they're moving fast." The commander exhaled sharply, his tone cold. "So, it's a race to the tube. If we don't get there first, they'll have access to the Hunter's spacecraft," Ross said firmly. "And once they unlock that technology, the balance of power shifts, permanently." The commander's expression darkened. "You expect us to believe that after all these years, the Hunters haven't retrieved their own tech? That's exactly what makes this mission so dangerous. We believe this could be a trap, most likely payback for Dutch's killing of one of their Hunters. Though Dutch has gone off the grid, it wouldn't be far-fetched for the Hunters to seek revenge on his colleagues. These extraterrestrial Hunters prize honor and trophies, and they know that taking down anyone associated with Dutch would be a way to reclaim their lost pride. They may realize that Dutch himself has aged and is no longer a threat, but targeting his former team would send a powerful message." Commander Taos leaned back in his chair, his eyes cold and calculating. "And if we fail?" Dr. Ross's tone hardened. "We need you and your team to succeed where others have failed." Taos glanced at his team, each one wearing the same grim expression. They knew what was at stake. Bok Choy, the youngest of the operatives, broke the tension. "Wait, so we're actually going after alien tech, and this is connected to Dutch Schaefer?" Finney, the seasoned veteran, rolled his eyes. "She just said Dutch was connected, dumbass!" Ava, the sharp-tongued sniper, shook her head. "You really need to catch up, Bok. We're not here to rescue a cabinet minister. We're here to stop the world from falling apart." Taos stood, bringing the briefing to an end. "Doc, keep us informed. If this is the mission, then it's kill or be killed." The gleaming jet sliced through the clouds, its matte black surface absorbing radar waves, keeping the craft invisible to prying eyes. Inside, Commander Bear Taos and his team of operatives sat in the opulent interior, surrounded by advanced holographic displays, quietly reviewing mission data. The Weyland-Yutani logo glimmered on the walls, a reminder of the power and resources backing the mission. "Touchdown in 2 minutes!" the pilot's voice crackled over the comms. "We'll be transferring to the chopper at the secure landing site." As the jet landed smoothly on a secluded runway in Guatemala, a team of Weyland-Yutani operatives awaited their arrival, ready to escort them to a high-tech helicopter already prepped for the jungle insertion. The helicopter was sleek, an advanced military-grade model, outfitted with state-of-the-art cloaking technology, near-silent rotor systems, and infrared vision for navigating the dense jungle. The transition from luxury to high-stakes mission was seamless, emphasizing the wealth and precision behind their operation. Once aboard the helicopter, Commander Taos glanced at his team. "From here on, it's no more comfort. Eyes open. We're going deep into the most dangerous jungle on Earth." The helicopter lifted off quietly, heading straight into the heart of the Guatemalan jungle, the mission finally underway. The roar of the helicopter blades drowned out all but the team's focus as they neared the drop zone. Through his headset, Taos listened to the pilot's steady voice. "Eagle Eye, heading south, 295 degrees, on course for the ridge. ETA 3 minutes. Taos glanced at his team as they prepared their gear. Finney checked his rifle. Ava scanned the satellite map, and Bok Choy sat quietly, mentally preparing for what was to come. 30 seconds, get ready for insertion, the pilot called out. The rappel lines dropped into the dense jungle canopy, and the team descended quickly into the darkness below. The jungle greeted them with its thick humidity and the sound of distant wildlife. As the helicopter pulled away, the team was left standing in the dense undergrowth, the silence pressing in. Taos led the way, navigating through the rough terrain. Stay alert! If this is a trap, we're walking right into it! The light drizzle filtering through the trees did little to mask the oppressive feeling of being watched. Every shadow, every sound seemed charged with danger. Somewhere in this jungle was the key to an alien spacecraft. But it was also the perfect place for something or someone to be hunting them. The commander scanned the horizon, knowing full well that they weren't the only ones out there. The mission had just begun, but the countdown to survival had already started. The team moved quietly, with the commander signaling them to advance. Bok Choy, as the point man, led the way with military precision. Commander ordered, "Shut it down, no chatter, no noise." The team responded with silent thumbs-up signs, fully grasping the seriousness of their mission. Their faces set with determination and a hint of wariness, they moved forward with steely resolve. The seasoned commander gave a sharp signal to deploy the drone. Ava, ever quick and precise, acknowledged with a swift thumbs-up. Within moments, the drone was airborne, slicing silently through the dense jungle canopy, its cameras scanning the terrain below with surgical precision. As the drone's feed flickered to life on their handheld screens, the team quickly took in the scene. A heavily armed contingent foreign operatives entrenched in a makeshift camp. These soldiers weren't just any foot soldiers. They were elite, battle-hardened, each bearing the insignia of their respective nations. The tension was palpable, every movement deliberate, every glance filled with suspicion. This wasn't a routine mission for them. They were here for the same high-stakes prize, and they knew the gravity of what was at stake. The air was thick with the potential for conflict. Each operative a powder keg ready to explode, turning the already dangerous situation into a potential international crisis. Just before the commander signaled the team to maneuver around the camp, he paused abruptly, his gaze fixed on the treetops as if he sensed an unseen presence. Ava, sensing something was off, gestured inquiringly, but the commander held up a hand to indicate they should hold their position. Choi and Finney exchanged puzzled glances and shrugged their shoulders, silently questioning what was causing the delay. After what felt like an eternity, the commander finally gave the signal to continue. The team pushed forward, but an air of tension still clung to them. The commander's sudden alertness had sparked a sense of unease that refused to dissipate. A mile away from the adversaries, the commander called a halt, granting the team a much-needed breather. The stifling humidity and palpable tension had left everyone on edge. So, what was that about back there, Commander? It felt like we were being watched. Choi rolled his eyes, clearly dismissing the idea of extraterrestrials. Finney and Ava exchanged knowing glances and shook their heads, clearly unimpressed with Choi's skepticism. Their gestures made it clear. They thought he was being foolish for dismissing the possibility of extraterrestrial presence. They clustered in a small clearing as the commander unfurled a holographic map. The vivid display of Lago Verde's layout illuminated the complex details for extracting the shuttle tube, redirecting their focus from their nerves to the high-stakes operation ahead. The commander's eyes swept over each face, searching for signs of fatigue or doubt. Just then, all three of them caught a glimpse of something that made them freeze. An image flickered into view, cloaked and vanishing so swiftly that it left them momentarily paralyzed, their thoughts racing to understand what they had just seen. Commander, I'm reaching out to Dr. Ross for satellite time now. Alpha Tango, we need to sync up with the satellite pass in 30 minutes. Confirm the coordinates and any updates on the target's capabilities. Alpha Tango. Coordinates are locked in. What's the problem? We're seeing weird anomalies in the images. Out in the field, it's like we're chasing shadows. Got it. The target's got some serious cloaking tech and can vanish into thin air. Use thermal and motion sensors to get a fix. I'll push an updated satellite feed your way. Copy that. We're going on full alert. Understood. Keep me in the loop with any developments. Commander, according to the coordinates, we're still a mile from the extraction point. Nightfall will be upon us soon. Let's set up camp now. Ava, take the first watch and rotate with the others until dawn. Yes, Commander. Commander, we're about a mile from Lago Verde. Who's going into the lake to retrieve the tube? The commander smiled at Choi, who was smirking. You volunteered. Choi looked confused. When did I do that? The commander grinned. Right now. Before moving forward, the commander instincts kicked in. Distinctive clicking, growling, and rasping sounds filled the air. He signaled the team to stop. He recalled his Navajo upbringing and his grandfather's words. Listen to the whispers of the world around you. They may carry the voice of a friend or the breath of a foe. In a small clearing bordered by towering trees, an eerie silence descended. The clicking of insects ceased. Bear, eyes focused, whispered, "What's wrong, Commander?" "Something is out there." Suddenly, the clicking and growling intensified. The team, alert and uneasy, brought their weapons to lock and load. They quickly took cover as the adversaries approached, moving cautiously through the underbrush. Overhearing their conversation, they caught fragments. "Comrade, our radar pinpointed them here." "Okay, where are they?" "Comrade, Los Cubanos are requesting permission to advance. Tell them we're right behind. The adversaries then moved out of range, leaving the team in tense anticipation. Choi, you're up. The shuttle tube is submerged somewhere in this area. Got it, Commander. I'm heading in. Fire up your sonar. We've detected some movement near the surface, but nothing concrete yet. Understood. I'll keep my eyes peeled. For E.T. No, Einstein, the Russians. Ava shakes her sound of water and equipment adjusting. I'm about 20 meters down. Visibility is low. Be careful. We don't have eyes on you, so stay sharp. No visual, just a lot of muck. Keep us posted. Just a few more seconds. Got it. And I'm attaching the rope. The tube's coming loose. I'm heading back up. Understood. I'm on my way up now. Sound of bubbles and water surface breaking. I'm out. Tube secured. We're on our way. The commander and team cautiously approach Lago Verde. They see Choi standing, not making a move. What's wrong? The dense jungle suddenly seems to come alive with movement. Emerging from the shadows, a formidable force of adversaries encircle them, weapons at the ready, their expressions cold and unyielding. A tall, imposing figure with sharp, he's flanked by a mix of hardened operatives, each one as intimidating as the last. Commander Taos, it's finally great to meet the legend. The stories we've heard throughout the years, well, they almost don't do you justice. The commander remains silent, his eyes locked on the man in front of him. Allow me to introduce myself, Comrade Vasily. You thought we weren't monitoring you, didn't you? But you see, Commander, we also have the latest technology. You're not the only one with resources. Vasily's men tighten their grip on their weapons. We've been watching you for a long time. You may be a legend, but even legends have their weaknesses. They realize now that their every step has been anticipated, their every tactic known. But don't worry, we're not here to kill you yet. We have plans for you, Commander. Out of the shadows, a beautiful blonde woman appears. Commander, meet Anna Kova, personal advisor and chief scientist to our comrade and President Putin. Ava, looking her up and down, mutters to herself, "Damn, I'd better get my game on." She's pretty and has a great ass. The commander and Finney both stare at her, and Finney finally says, "Wow!" The commander was aware of Anna Kova's reputation. She had invented tiny drones capable of remaining airborne for days if necessary. These drones were programmed to lock onto a target and never lose track. Greetings, Commander. Time is of the essence, so I'll get straight to the point. Where did your man hide the tube? All eyes turned to Choi, who let out a smile. Just then, sounds emerged from the north. Clicking and chattering transitioned into growls and roars. Thermal vision revealed 3 hunters emerging, who immediately opened fire with plasma weapons. "Run!" the commander shouted to his team. On the way out, they picked up their weapons and equipment. The adversaries retaliated, but their weapons were no match for the hunters' advanced technology. The adversaries suffered heavy losses. The commander and his team moved swiftly through the dense jungle, their breaths controlled, footsteps silent. Behind them, the forest had fallen eerily quiet, with only the occasional distant sound of the remaining adversaries, just 4 of them now, desperately trying to regroup. But it wasn't the remnants of their enemies that concerned the commander. It was the trio of relentless hunters tracking them. Knowing the hunters were closing in, the commander signaled his team to halt. They couldn't afford to be caught out in the open. With a quick hand motion, the team deployed several holographic decoys. These weren't just simple projections. They were advanced, emitting false heat signatures, mimicking heartbeats, and even reproducing the sound of their movements. The jungle soon filled with the deceptive echoes of the team, spreading out in different directions. The hunters, skilled as they were, hesitated as they tried to distinguish the real from the fake. This was the commander's only chance. He led his team deeper into the underbrush, moving with calculated precision. After a few tense minutes, they reached a towering tree, its branches thick and twisted. A natural fortress. "Up!" the commander whispered, and the team ascended quickly, using the dense foliage to cover their movements. Once hidden high in the canopy, they took positions, blending into the tree's shadows. From their vantage point, the commander could see the hunters below, stalking through the jungle with lethal intent. Despite the decoys, the hunters were methodical, eliminating the last of the adversaries with swift precision. Soon, it would be just them against the commander's team. The commander's mind raced. These hunters were unlike any enemy he'd faced before. They wouldn't be fooled for long. Drawing from the playbook of Dutch Schaefer, he began setting up traps around their position. Low-tech, brutal traps that wouldn't trigger any advanced sensors the hunters might be using. Vines were strung to snap under tension. Branches were rigged to release with bone-crushing force. As the hunters closed in, the jungle around them became a deadly maze. One of the hunters, a towering figure cloaked in camouflage, stepped into a trap. A branch swung with a violent snap, striking him with lethal force. The other two hunters instantly turned, scanning the area for the source, their eyes narrowing with suspicion. The commander and his team held their breath. The hunters, now even more cautious, began methodically sweeping the area. The decoys had bought them time, but the hunters were experienced. They would eventually find the team's hiding place. But for now, the commander had the upper hand. The hunters were down one, and with the traps in place, the team had a fighting chance. The commander knew the next few moments would be critical. They couldn't stay hidden forever, but every second they delayed gave them an edge, a chance to turn the tables in this deadly game. As they rested, the commander asked, "Okay, Choi, what did you do with the tube?" "I camouflaged it and placed a holographic image over it. My commander and team are led to the ruin A's." The commander and his team regrouped after narrowly escaping the predators. They realized they had been lured into an underground ruin. The ancient structure was a maze of narrow corridors and hidden chambers, filled with dangers like poison darts and swinging blades. The team knew that the predators would have a tactical advantage in this environment. "We're in their territory now. Stay sharp and watch for traps." Choi says, "I've got some good news and bad news. The bad news is that the predators have led us right into a trap. The good news is I've been able to use some of our holographic images to confuse them. Even their thermal imaging is distorted by our holograms." Ava says, "I found a stash of old weapons in one of the side chambers, including a few cases of poison darts. They've been preserved in airtight containers, so they should still be effective." Finney says, "I'll set up some diversions to draw them off and deploy the drone to scan the area. It should help us map out the ruin and identify any hidden passages or escape routes." As they moved deeper into the ruins, the team examined the Mayan petroglyphs depicting their worship of the hunters. Suddenly, an image caught the attention of the commander and made him stop in his tracks. Eggs, facehuggers, and a xenomorph. The commander recalled details from his conversation with Alexa Woods, the guide and sole survivor of the previous expedition. "Listen up," the commander said, his voice sharp. "Be careful where you step and make sure we're all watching the same spot." Why? In 2004, Charles Wayland, founder of the Wayland Corporation, had a satellite discover ruins 2,000 feet beneath Buvatoya Island, Antarctica. They were drawn there by the hunters just like us, but encountered something far more sinister: eggs, facehuggers, and the ultimate killing machine. The team now faces a troubling puzzle: eggs and facehuggers. The commander's eyes hardened as he continued, his voice low. The hunters were using Mayan and Aztec humans around 250 CE for their sick games, collecting human trophies. I was the one who evacuated Alexa Woods, the sole survivor of the 2004 expedition. During the debriefing, I was tasked with extracting critical information from her. Alexa revealed that during the expedition, they triggered a plate that activated the xenomorph queen, awakening her from cryogenic stasis and causing her to produce eggs. When the eggs hatched, several facehuggers attached themselves to the humans who were cataloging artifacts in the sacrificial chamber. Scar, the hunter who spared Alexa's life, recognized her formidable nature after witnessing her single-handedly kill a xenomorph. That was an isolated moment of respect amid their savagery. Despite this, Scar and the other hunters are ruthless, driven by their brutal practice of collecting human skulls as trophies. They are relentless predators, and their thirst for trophies is matched only by their savagery. Additionally, Alexa was given a gift from the hunter's mothership, a sign of the respect she earned, but also a reminder of the complex dynamics at play. This debriefing provided us with crucial insights into the xenomorph threat and highlighted the brutal nature of the hunters, shaping our strategy for dealing with them. Chestbursters emerged and quickly grew into adult xenomorphs. We're dealing with a creature that's evolved into a perfect killing machine. It's relentless, adaptable, and above all, deadly. The hunters used the Mayans as sacrificial lambs, using a facehugger to impregnate them with an embryo for the hunt as a rite of passage to be considered a warrior. And one last thing, their blood is acidic. A tense silence filled the room as the gravity of the situation sank in. "Choi, I need you to use that EMP device. We have to disable any hunter's tech they might have. We need every advantage we can get." "I've already tried. Their technology is too advanced, the EMP won't even make a dent. Then we'll have to get creative." "Ava, what do you have?" I've rigged a few noisemakers. I've created enough of a diversion to buy us some time, but it won't last long. Good. Finney, what about you? I've planted some laser lights to mimic weapon fire. It might confuse them, but only for a moment. We have to move fast once they're deployed. All right, everyone, stay sharp. The team moved slowly through the chambers of the ruins, their footsteps echoing in the ancient corridors as they watched each step with caution. The air was thick with the weight of history and danger. Suddenly, something caught the commander's eye. A series of petroglyphs etched into the stone walls. The commander froze, his eyes narrowing as he studied the symbols. Of course, he muttered to himself, realization dawning on his face. Why didn't I think about that before? He stepped closer to the wall, tracing the carvings with his fingers. The symbols depicted a series of rituals and hunts, but one image stood out, a figure resembling a hunter standing over what looked like a chamber filled with eggs. It's a map, the commander whispered, his voice laced with urgency. These ruins weren't just a battleground, they were a breeding ground. The hunters have been here before, and they've been using this place to breed xenomorphs for their hunts. He turned to the team, his expression grim. We're standing in a trap! We need to move now! The realization hit the team like a shockwave, and they quickly adjusted their strategy, knowing that every second they lingered in the ruins brought them closer to an ambush they might not survive. One of the two hunters scans the prey using heat vision, while the other hunter are close by. Finney, go check that chamber around the pillar and see if there's a way out. Roger that. As Finney walks toward the chamber with his flashlight attached to his weapon, a towering hunter appears, cloaked. The hunter raises his arm and releases two deadly blades that stab into Finney with a sickening asterisk thud asterisk. Finney gasps in pain, his flashlight flickering as he stumbles, trying to grasp what just happened. The hunter uncloaks, revealing his menacing form. The sounds of the attack, Finney's agonized gasp and the asterisk clink asterisk of the blades embedding, reach the commander Choi and Ava, who exchange alarmed glances. Did you hear that? The trio rushes to investigate and finds Finney hanging upside down, blood streaming from his wounds. Ava stares in horror. The eerie silence is broken only by the distant, ominous sounds of the hunters still lurking nearby. Inside the ruins, the 7 remaining adversaries navigate the ancient corridors with caution. Anna and Comrade Vasily follow closely behind, their vigilance heightened. Meanwhile, 2 hunters, cloaked in near invisibility, merge effortlessly with the shadows. Their advanced heat vision and motion trackers sweep over the ruins, capturing every detail. The hunters' masks emit a faint, almost imperceptible glow as they fine-tune their thermal and auditory sensors, scanning for any sign of movement or noise. The corridors are eerily silent, broken only by the soft echo of footsteps and the occasional hiss of the hunters' technology. The adversaries use hand signals to communicate, their gestures meticulously observed by the hunters' high-tech visors. Each movement is logged, and the tension builds with every passing second as the hunters prepare for the perfect moment to strike. The air is thick with anticipation. The hunters' cloaked forms shifting silently, their plasma casters and wrist blades ready. Every sound is amplified by their advanced auditory sensors, heightening the suspense as they close in on their prey. The 2 cloaked hunters, blending seamlessly with the shadows, finally reveal themselves to the commander, Bok Choy, Ava, Anna Kova, and Comrade Vasily. Their voices, a mix of guttural tones and a synthesized translator, echo through the darkened ruins.